But so we came in and we did 20 zombies, and they were Dance 9411, Dance 411, that organization. So these are all professional dancers. They're like up there with the Atlanta Ballet, and they train, they learn Thriller, which you can't hear audio, but this is the Thriller dance. And they trained for like 3 weeks. They knew it perfectly. And so all of a sudden the president was speaking, and you hear this girl screaming. We had to hire this girl who screamed really well. She was a horror film screamer, you know, so they're like, ah! You know, so she comes running through the auditorium. He's like, he's the president of the school. There's some girl screaming in his audience.
Or the outside, whatever they call that.
The auditorium, that they have an outside, I don't know if you've ever been there, but they have an outside auditorium.
Huge.
And she comes screaming, like running at full speed, and all of a sudden zombies started coming onto from all around. We had them climbing,
now,
see
what
the
you
wall.
notice while they're up here?
They were coming over the wall, they're coming down.
Each one's themed. If you look, you'll see different themes.
We have the prom queen, of course.
Yeah, let me go over here. You got, in the front here, we've got Desiree, the leader.
Queen.
We got the prom king over here.
In the white, he's in the white suit.
Let's see, back here we've got the 50s cheerleader.
Yeah.
And over here, this guy
we
was
have the
bit by a
Buckhead
shark.
Housewife.
We have the little girl in her
the little
pajamas.
girl in her pajamas with the big bow.
And you got a cowgirl over here. And there they go, heading off. The best part, though, in my opinion, was the actual prom king and queen, because when they started, he was dragging the prom queen.
Here's the start, when they're coming down.
He literally drug her off up the stairs again, and she just, like that.
And we even had the 2 Trekkie geeks, you know, that were, you know, had the...
Oh, yeah, because when he was leaving, he was doing the whole...
Yeah, they were doing the live long and prosper.
He had the nerd glasses on, the whole deal.
And we had the librarian. She's the one with the hair that goes like this with the glasses. So it was funny. We had...
We were not in charge of recording it, though.
I wish we had the sound. You could hear the Thriller and...
These were just people that were there with their phones doing it, and you actually hear all their talk on the phones. It was like, oh, this is wonderful.
We had the businessman, too. But yeah, these were, we actually, students, of course, there's like 50 phones, you know, as soon as it started. The students didn't know this was going to happen either. So it's just the administration. And all of a sudden this started, and everyone was like, what's going on?
But these are some of the actual costumes from that scene. And let's go ahead and get on into this here. As you can see, these are some of the 20 zombies that we did. I don't know which one was wearing the green. I think the green was the explorer girl with the cowgirl.
Oh,
was that and that?
It was
I think.
With this, I think. This is the we
and,
had the naturalist. She was
you notice on the back. To get this is bleach in there. What we ended up doing is you start with the shredding part, okay?
Well, you go to the thrift store.
Well, yeah, the thrift store's first.
Or any old place,
whenever you go there,
you have old clothes. Ask friends, do you have clothes you're giving away that don't fit, that don't... Of course, it depends what kind of zombies you're going for.
That's what we were going to get to, is a theme. Make sure you go in, you've got your themes already written out, because you don't want to get there and, well, you can change up once you got it, but you have to have somewhere to start. So start with your theme. But once you get your clothes, then we get to the shredding part, okay? That's one of the very first things you want to start doing. Now, you can get a pair of scissors and go to chop it, but that's only one way of actually a person getting hurt, okay? Zombies are far less likely to have big sword cuts out of the stuff, so scissors, not your best choice for shredding. Okay, a much better way is to actually naturally pull apart a little bit. Some of these also, you'll destroy the whole piece if you just do that. So to get some of the cuts and stuff that we did, one of the methods that I like to do is the twist. You want to do it on this right here? You hold it and I'll do the thing.
Yeah, because you have to think a zombie's not gonna, the way they walk, they don't care. They walk through anything. Yeah. And so they're not gonna have nice clean cuts unless they get it caught on a fence. They get it trips over, they trip over chairs. They
usually cover this in our zombie school. And like she said, you know, the injuries and stuff, why he shambles, it's not because of rigor mortis. Usually that's because they're breaking their legs and stuff when they're falling off of things as they're traveling. So you get you a nice good twist on there, and then you get, this is just a metal saw cutting through pipes, and you can scrap with it like that, it's one way, or you can literally hack into it. Now I can cut straight off a piece like that, But I like to go down it. And what you end up with is a tatter. It's a nice shredded piece, and you get more natural holes, more stringy stuff. The kind of tatters you would have natural. You can't really see very well on that one.
Because you have to think there, of course, depending on the types of zombies, there's new zombies who just turn zombie, and then there's the ones who have been around forever, and they've been walking through things, blood,
You
stuff
see these
spilling
kind of
on
tatters?
them.
That's more what you kind of get with
And
the
the sleeve.
thing, yeah. Now some of these are cut, like you start with the cut and then you shred from that. There's a nice tatter on the shoulder there too. All right, what else do we have? You can do it with a pair of scissors. On some of them, you can just scrape down with the scissors. But like I said, you want to be careful not to just trim things. There is a technique for getting the ones on this. Was it this one? I think this is it. And I basically just bundled it up really tight again, and I took the scissors themselves, and I just went quick chops with it. But you still have to rag it up with the other knife after you're done with that. You got some on that one?
Well, this was actually a werewolf.
We could actually tatter that more if you wanted.
Well, this was actually not a zombie shirt. This was for a werewolf character that we did. So you can see it has the blood, but it's a little different because he has those, the claws, and he's dealing with that.
Now, one of the things you want to make sure of is when you're doing this. We did this at my mom's house. We got us a big plastic tub, and we went out on the front porch because there's so many of them, you can't do them individually. Now, some places that have the money, big shops and stuff that do this, they're going to take a dryer that's dedicated just to this kind of stuff, and they're going to put rocks in it and let it tumble these things out. Now, I don't suggest that because unless you have the money to buy a new dryer, that's a very, expensive way of doing this. You can literally take the clothes and you can beat them with rocks on, a surface that's okay to do that with.
Also, we have, I believe this is a paring knife. I could be wrong. So this one it's actually really sharp on both sides. This is a great tool for your kit for distressing clothes. Also, the all famous cheese shredder.
Cheese shredder, yeah.
Which you can get at the dollar store. And then you don't feel like if you break it or something, or if it goes really dull, that you wasted a lot of money. Hit the dollar store.
This one's it's basically, I'm not sure exactly what this saw is used for. I think it's actually used for foam, cutting big sheets of styrofoam and stuff. But it works great on the clothes.
Also, your scrub brush. You need, it's good if you have the really hard bristle kind.
Yeah.
Because you want to fluff up the fibers, rip them a little bit. You want to be rough on them. This actually is pretty hard on both sides. But this is a great thing to have too. Again, dollar store. You can hit the dollar store for it.
Now chemicals, moving on to that.
And you'll use this for when you're doing the chemicals and the coloring as well. So you can use this double. Yes? Yeah.
Jeans?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeans actually are very easy and fun to work with. We did that stuff back in high
And they
school.
look good with the color. Jeans.
You do the twist on those, you'll get some great, shreds, and you'll get the nice string and stuff. But if you want it for something that you're going to wear a lot of, you might want to go back and stitch around the wound on there so that you know that it doesn't get bigger. Especially when actors are going to put their foot in there, a lot of times they'll catch on that and they'll rip it all the way down. It's very important that you help dress the actors. Don't just throw the stuff at them. Half of them don't even know how it works. When you get done with a good shred, we had a dress that a girl was going to wear, and she quickly understood that she had to wear underwear with it because that one that the main character is in, the black one, the black dress that she's wearing, is very tattered. And unfortunately, when we were making it, you don't really think about some of the positioning because you get in a hurry. When you got 20 of them, you have a very limited amount of time.
And the actors won't
You're
know
like,
that.
oh,
It's your responsibility to make sure that you tell them where. I mean,
You're a little
hopefully they'll wear
exposed.
undergarments anyway, but yeah, you need to say, you need to wear undergarments. And you have to understand too, when you're dressing zombies, for example, if they're wearing a skirt, if it's a woman, she's wearing especially a short skirt like her, you're going to have to do their legs too as a makeup artist.
Now,
you're going to be, doing a lot.
We came around that. We said, okay, it's going to be hard enough to do all their faces in the short amount of time that we're going to have to do this. So the way we came up around this was we used stockings. We took the stockings and we did little tears in them, little shreds in those, and there's some color in them, but that basically made it look like their skin was disrupted. If you put makeup on dancers, they will literally pull it apart. So you have to use cloth a lot of times on this stuff.
And you want non-shiny
Yeah.
pantyhose, not the lustery, pretty kind. You want the dull, like the nudes, you know, are really dull looking sometimes.
They make zombie flesh stockings, we found, but that's if you got a budget because
Yeah,
they get
they're
pricey.
expensive.
One person's okay, 20 people, not in the
Not
budget.
good. We had a budget, but not.
They're like 12
not
bucks a piece
that
on
much,
those
yeah.
things. You can also do add-ons. When you get your outfit, if you want it more shredded than it is, you can add stuff like this. This is cheesecloth, and it's called beef cheesecloth. There's all kinds of cheesecloth out there. It's so much fun to work with. It comes in white, and then
Green?
it's just white. Most of them are white. They don't have any other colors, and then you dye them.
Well, you can actually get these now. They're
They do have any
selling them
colors?
at the dollar store in like a green, like a mossy green color.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, as you can see, you can pull holes into it, and you can do all kinds of stuff. One of the most popular things I use it for is when I do old outfits where you wear top hats or pirates, and you basically make your little shredded neckerchief thing. And so, you know, Captain, you know, you got this. You can also, for like the ghosty type outfits, or if you want Oliver Twist type of thing going on.
Vampire.
Vampire, if you're an old vampire, he's not really up on the fashion trends, yes. But you got the ends of the clothes. Now you want this shorter than this, but this kind of looks like the shirt came out and just over the years he's just shredded it, you know. You can use this for gypsy belts, or you can just take little pieces of it and you can tie it into their hair. You can tie it off to little holes that are already on there. Still have the green thing on that one. Mm-hmm. The tag thing from the store. There it is.
No, we thought that was funny, remember?
Oh, left it on there?
Yeah. Also with these, if you have a character that's wearing a latex mask or any kind of mask and it stops right here, well, that's what these are great for, is you can actually tie them around. We do that a lot at Netherworld. You tie them around the neck, you know, and leave
Washing them
hanging
makes them
down.
kind of curl up like this, so you have to kind of spread them back out. I actually used this to make a dress for one of my models once, and she was completely covered in this stuff. And surprisingly enough, even though it's absolutely see-through, it is enough that you can't see it through on the pictures. It just looks like she's wearing a regular dress, but then you can turn an angle and then suddenly, ha-ha.
And I'm actually doing a costume right now it's a ghost character, because I do cemetery photo shoot every year for a group of photographers, and we're using this to make the ghost outfit. Like you wear your base, so it's a great Halloween costume as well, and you can add these to any Halloween costumes and make them better. And it's like they're going all the way down, like I'm just falling apart. Everything's hanging and looks mossy. And
I sometimes also put this into stuff, like this sign right here. This has actually got it in there. If you look at it really close, you'll see it kind of in the background, and it gives it stability, gives it strength to it. If you want to put this on somebody, you can do the same thing. You can put it on their body and then put latex over it, and you have this weird shredded skin muscle kind of stuff, especially if it's the right color. Like this right here is a real good meat color. You know, this would be an old meat type color. I could put my fingers through this and have it, you know, around my hands. We've also seen people use this for mummies, doing the wraps.
lots of mummy costumes.
Now,
You want to do the coloring?
yes. We kind of did them all at once because for zombies, you don't have to be careful. What I said yesterday about chaos on the face also applies to your clothes. Make sure that when you put color and things into here, you're not trying a pattern. This is happening very unnaturally, and it should look chaotic, with stuff bumped and stuff. You cannot just go, oh, a little here, a little over on the leg, because people will see that and they'll start seeing it in all your outfits, and suddenly it looks more like a polka dot, you know, and
Which we've
intentional.
noticed in movies. We're like,
yeah, all the time.
I know that makeup artist did that the exact same, those 5 outfits, because it looks exactly the same.
I wanted this one to kind of look, you know, somewhere between battery acid too. And there's some materials. This material did not want to cooperate with us. It does not shred well.
You have to consider the material. Like this one's 100% cotton. You have to consider wool Wool doesn't take a lot of color, it's so thick. And
the bleach doesn't want to set in. It'll sit on top of it. That's okay. Bleach will do its job. Put this in the bleach, let it sit. Okay, I think, what do we have, like 10 minutes and then we started getting color out of it?
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the fabric.
Because it'll just pool
depth.
on this kind. It doesn't want to sink in. This is made for going into water, you know. That stuff in this shirt.
See, now this is a really thin one. This is 100% cotton.
Yeah,
so
same here.
This is actually bleach, and then we added color so it looks like mold.
Yeah. And what we did is we took the sprayers.
He's an old zombie.
And you want to get sprayers just for this job because you'll ruin these things. The different colors and stuff, sometimes it'll chunk up and get inside of there. I don't even know does this sprayer still work?
No. Probably
Hey,
not.
it does still work, yay. So you can see
the splatter effect? Don't get it on me.
right there.
The blue
Now you get
splatter.
that mold kind of look to it.
And this is something actually when I worked on The Walking Dead, they use these bottles.
Hundreds
and
of
they have tons and tons of extras. So what they do is when they're distressing clothes or you're in costume, you have your makeup done, they'll go down the line of extras and use these squirt bottles. And actually, I don't recommend it's an alcohol-based paint. We would just recommend water unless you're a professional because the vapors can get pretty strong. But they go down each person and literally just squirt their legs. They had a blood bottle, they had an oil bottle, they had like 5 bottles, blood, oil, paint, and there was
Yellow.
it was like
fluids.
a yellowish something. And they would literally just squirt your whole body down before you go on set.
And a lot of them, you should do this too. You're thinking when you're doing it, like I said, there's got to be a reason for it. Why is it like this? You know, is this appropriate color for this person? What happened to them? Here's a problem. If you use a lot of blood stuff, the stuff it's supposed to be blood or fake blood, you're going to get a weird pink color.
Yeah.
Okay? Now,
That
this
doesn't
didn't
look
happen
good.
until after it went through the wash later on. But sometimes when you're out there, you're going to get that, and suddenly your wound doesn't look real anymore. And we were just watching something the other day, and there's this pink on it. Is a friend of ours film, and
We were like, look at that
it's like,
blood.
yeah, this is terrible. You know, especially on a white linen, and they're in a hospital, and you see this great blood come out, but then it's all pink when it's on them. Well, that doesn't look realistic at all. So look into other things like chocolate syrup.
The darker
henna.
colors tend to look
If
better.
you've ever worked with henna, henna looks like a dried, nasty brown blood stain, and it's awesome for this stuff, and it'll stay forever, you know.
And if you want to do dirt and you're not spraying it on, then don't go roll around in the dirt.
Oh, we
No,
had
no, no,
somebody,
no.
not to name names, but somebody that both of us respect greatly. They are a famous makeup special effects artist, and they said,
And if you need your outfit dirty, just go get dirt. Go out and get dirt. We were like, no, you don't.
on the
Don't do
set
that.
of Andersonville,
That was a
there was
famous
guys who
makeup
actually
artist. We
jumped out
won't
of
say
line.
who.
There was 2,000 people standing in line to get makeup and dirt and all this stuff. And there was like a group of 4 guys that were like 19. They're like, we don't have to stay in line. We'll just go over here and
Yeah,
rub
go
dirt
roll
all
around
over
in
us.
the dirt.
And the ladies just tore them apart. They're like, get in here, redo everything. New outfits, the whole deal.
First of all, dirt's dirty.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to have that on your costume because you're going to wear that all day, and that might have bacteria in it.
But most
might
important
have, who knows,
is that,
dog feces.
especially in Georgia,
you
we
know.
have little shale pieces, we have crystal pieces. All of that is picked up by the cameras. So suddenly
Which is
you
reflective.
look like you're a vampire in Twilight, you know? And you're like, oh, that's bad, get out
Yeah,
of
if
there.
they have these bright lights on you, like the interview down there, they had the bright lights, those would pick up those flecks and reflect. And they'd be like, what's on your outfit? And then the makeup artist would have to come in. Time is money on
you're
film.
wasting time on the film. Here's this is bleaching on the jeans like you were asking about. And then
So Clorox bleach, you
Cuts.
can get it at the dollar store. You can get your tools at the dollar store. You can do zombies. Georgia's the home of the zombies. So you can do zombies cheap. Now, if you're doing things more like, werewolves, vampires, things like that, of course, makeup plays a lot into that.
Right.
And like vampires, of course, the teeth and costume.
we did use spray paint on a few of these. Spray paint is sticky, so you have to wait on it to dry and everything. And what kind you use is important also. They do make fabric spray paint. I would suggest using that. But at the very least, if you're pulling the stuff out of your cabinet because you don't have any other choice, make sure it doesn't say gloss, because gloss takes forever and it won't ever want to.
It doesn't look good on camera.
Yeah.
Any questions so far? We've covered a lot. We're like just slammed with you guys with stuff. You have a question?
Oh yeah. When
Yes.
the reason why I mentioned chocolate syrup
Absolutely.
in
Like
3D
when you're rolling.
or in
and
the old
you-
movies, vampire movies, stuff like that of the past, when they were black and white, the red did not translate correctly on black and white film. It just looked like a weird water. So they had to do things like the makeup that a person wore was greenish. It was a pale green that they wore for highlights. The lipstick that the women wore, that you see in all these beautiful women in these movies, is actually a really disgusting red brick color. And blood was actually chocolate syrup.
In Psycho, the movie Psycho, which is a classic for all of us horror fans, actually they use chocolate syrup. The famous scene in the shower, it was chocolate syrup because that was shot on black and white. So yeah, you do have to be careful about but your makeup artist should know like if you're doing a squib or if there's gunshots, they should know, especially working with the costumer. The makeup artists work with the costumers together because if they're wearing a certain color, they don't want to bring in this really bright blood because it'll look pink, on that, and so they don't want that effect, of course.
And if there's no more questions, we're going to go move on to our next section,
Any other
which is
costuming,
props.
distressing? Okay, we're going to move on to props.
Okay. Props is generally my section, and usually Ondie will come to me and say, I'm doing an event. I need blah, blah. And then I work my butt off trying to figure out how to make that work. And then I make it like in 2 minutes just before she comes over.
No, not the ice things.
Some of them were very specific, like she had to be a ice witch from the Narnia.
From Narnia.
Novels. That's what this one was.
And this
Crown was a lot of fun to make. I used the fake snow that you use during the our flocking, and you can buy it in a putty form. And so I made the snow with that. It's got little sparkles into it.
You can get that at Michael's, right?
Yep,
Joann's
Michael's,
or
or seasonally,
spray snow.
anywhere during the season. The nice thing about it is it's supposed to be water soluble, so if I wanted to, I could probably take this whole thing apart with that. But it's not the only thing. That is only used at the very end of your project. Never rely on something that's water soluble or whatever.
Does the light
It's
work?
actually, I could try, but I used just hot
Here, I'll
glue
hold it
gun.
so they can see it.
And
The other one's gone, remember? It fell off.
there's 4 of them.
The other part of the back. Oh, yeah. I thought it fell off. He put a light in it in case I needed it for luminosity, which was a festival we did.
We did it was a big
So it lights
parade
up.
downtown, parade/festival that was based on Alice in Wonderland. But a lot of famous people were there and such, and that's what this one was made. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
during our event, the battery pack came off on a loose wire. But this has little lights hidden within it. And
I know, I wish that still.
similar principle, instead of
Same
actually
thing.
making goggles that went around, these goggles, when we got them, were just on this horrible string anyway. And I said, instead of doing that, why don't we just make the whole thing kind of a headpiece? And so this is just a little hair, whatchamacallit there, barrette. And then I added the feathers to kind of give that winged ear kind of anime thing. I added some ribbon. All of this is glued on here very simply. I've also got some crinoline that I bought that you can buy any place where they sell little accents to things, Hobby Lobby and such. These are actually a really cheap pair of goggles that you can get at any hardware store. And then I've got a string of lights that during the holiday season, they always have these battery pack lights laying around. Buy them up. If you like making costumes, buy them up. Get multiple colors, especially unrecognizable colors. And then depending on what you're trying to go with, if you want more of the steampunk theme, then you use more of the amber lights on that. So that's what there's on, is amber lights all over. Yeah. And then the ribbon is an accent. She can tie that or she can just leave it hanging. It's just for looks.
Yeah, it doesn't light up. These
And
were
it's
supposed
meant
to be the
to angle
straps.
a little bit to the side to give that more of a playful look to it, like they're just casually thrown on.
That ribbon's caught. Can you pull that wire up?
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, ignore the black wire.
I know. Ignore the black wire. It doesn't light up now, but these were supposed to be like my straps to the. And this was for luminosity. This was. We had a whole section of steampunk. How many? 20 steampunk people.
But there was hundreds of people there total. I mean, actors, dancers, and
It was
everything.
a moving show through downtown.
Now that was Atlanta Ballet, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah,
that
when they
one
came
was.
through, yeah. This little hat right here with the very cleverly hidden death laser was for one of my puppets. I make dragon puppets. I mainly make the dragon puppets just for my own pleasure. And then I wanted to go steampunk with the one female character I had. And so that was her little gun. And I ended up having people say, "What is that, a steampunk unicorn?" No!
You could put it on your dragon and show
Deadly. That has to be pinned in, so I can't really just add it onto you. This is actually made for Ondie. This was
That
her
was
hat I
steampunk.
made. And these little guys are so easy to make, and they're so much fun. You just go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any of those. All sell these little hats already pre-made. You can get this size, or you can get it a little smaller than this. And then everything's just hot glue gunned on. All the ribbons and things like that. And then this is just a little button. You can get a pack of buttons for like $5. These little plastic guys. I've used those plastic buttons for everything.
And you can, I know at Michael's, you can get a big bag of those buttons for
Yeah.
like $4,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a huge bag.
This is what I did with the puppets. I got a bunch of these ones from Jurassic Park and the Godzilla. This is the baby Godzilla one. And I put doll eyes in their eyes right here. These are a pair of horns that they were selling at one of the Eddie's Trick Shop. And then repainted the whole thing, and then I use I have an oil-based paint that my dad gave me. He's an artist up north. And I got the whole thing to give it a sheen, to give it a kind of a draconic sheen. And I cut it apart so that I have more maneuverability and so I can clean it. These things get really sweaty if you wear them a lot. And there's also cloth underneath the jaw here to keep your hand so you don't get any kind of sores or whatever. This is a final finished product. I made a zombie dragon years ago, and he's a bit tattered by purpose. This is a really cool cloth that I found that has a dragon skin texture to it. They were throwing it away. They didn't even want to keep the stuff anymore. I actually cut the rib cage into it, and then I added the skin over it so it'd hang off of it. The horns, again, were just a set of horns. You ever seen the Renaissance horns that tie onto your head? These were like the corporate buy-at-the-store version of them with the plastic string around them and everything. And they're pretty much useless in the purpose that they intended them for, but they fit great on the puppet. I used cotton and latex tissue to make him look like he's been wounded. Maybe someone shot an explosive a crossbow bolt into his mouth and he blew up or something. I tore out one of his eyes on this side. This eye has been replaced with a doll eye over here. And doll eyes, you can either get them in a pack at a hobby store. You can go to a taxidermy shop if there's any in your area. But the easiest way is to go to a thrift store, buy a bunch of stuffed animals that are worthless, and tear all their eyes out. And
Or if you have old stuffed animals you're getting rid of.
yeah, they get ratty. You don't want to hold on to those things because you don't know what kind of bugs and stuff are in them. Just cut them apart, use them as pieces. This little thing was a toy that someone gave me a long time ago. It'd been sitting in the bottom of a bucket somewhere at my house. What it was, you put your fingers in here and it had like little rubber bands and you would like fire the little darts out of it. But the rubber had been destroyed a long time ago. And so I gave it a new paint job. There's actually some scroll work that I carved into it. There's a little plant tape around it to give it a leather look right here. And these are just little contact lens bottles that I filled with some goopy dye and soap to give it a weird kind of chemical look to it. And they just fit in there perfectly. So I have this is like a vampire curse removal thing. Let's see, this gun here was right off my stepdad's wall. After he passed away, I was like, well, that's mine now. So it was just a simple toy where it had like a little screen here, and I think these were controls for it, and it was like Duck Hunt or something. Now it looks like Mad Max can take it out and blow away zombies on the road. It's already got a nice little weight in there to give it a realistic feel. Everybody likes to pump the thing.
So you can watch the toy stores, the dollar store, thrift stores, go and find
garage
toys.
sales.
Garage sales.
How many garage sales you pass this piece of junk and you're like,
Yeah,
you sense,
keep
you know?
your mind open to things. You gotta figure the big picture. So if you find a old blue piece of crap gun, you can change it. You can add.
does everybody know what
stuff.
plant tape is? Anybody? Plant tape is literally plant tape. It's a plant tape, or it's a tape that you wrap around stuff. It's natural. It's self-adhering. It's really thin, and you can find it at like any place that sells plants. You see it on flowers sometimes when they're handed off. It's taped up around the bottom of it. But if you wrap it around certain things, you make it look like leather. You can, if you want it to be a little bit stronger, because if you leave it alone, it'll become harder. But you can actually take like a little bit of clear paint and go around that, nail polish,
nail polish,
that
clear
kind of
nail
stuff.
polish.
Careful with clear nail polish. I used it on a couple rubber masks years ago to make the teeth look more shiny. However, it ages the latex quicker. Latex is a natural material, and it breaks down over about 10 years. Your stuff will break down in like 5 years if you use a chemical like that.
But you have to keep it open about things, because I know I did Ripley from Aliens at Dragon Con one year, and we were like, what are we going to do? She has the bullet, what do you call it, the belt or whatever. We were like,
bandolier.
I don't want to, you can't bring real big old bullets into Dragon Con. So we were trying to figure out, what can we do? So we went actually and found these little mini markers.
Yeah.
That if you think outside the box, we painted them black, or no, more of a
you just have to look enough like the character that people go and recognize, oh, I know what that is.
But we found those markers, painted them, and they look just like I had so many people stopping me going, oh my gosh, those real bullets?
And she bought a couple guns that she took over and said, here, make them. And I made it into the gun.
The pulse rifle.
The pulse rifle with the flamethrower attached to it.
It was huge.
It even had a little readout on it. And
so you just got to think outside the box. And obviously, YouTube, you can find a lot of things, how to distress stuff,
this skull
paint
is
stuff,
old.
make stuff.
This guy has been around since Silo X. I made him back in 93, 94, something like that. And you can see the stuff's actually held up pretty good. This is latex over toilet tissue that's on here. It had a foam-based skull, which I actually had to carve out the teeth because they didn't really do a great job at that. Fortunately, this stuff's really easy to carve. What it is that perhaps you've seen it at your house used for insulation. It's the foam that you inject in there, and then afterwards, if it gets on anything, you'll never get it off because it's hard. Well, you can carve that stuff real easily with like a one of those carving knives you use for the turkey, the electric knives.
Be careful.
Yeah, just caution on that. But yeah, but if it's already done for you, that's good. This is, like I said, toilet tissue that's been colored with red food coloring. That was it at the time. I didn't have anything extra. And then there is also cotton tissue on here to give it more of the textured look to it. But and then I also carved out in the back here some claw marks, like he's been through some damage. If you want to pass that around, you can take a closer look at it. Sometimes you get lucky. This is what we call, yeah, those are the fingernails there, the hands.
The hands.
We've used this for everything.
This has been in so many movies. And I think
these are
zombie
just false fingernails.
Photo shoots.
Just ladies' false fingernails. I use false fingernails for a lot of different things. If you look at the sign over here, this I made 2 days ago. The teeth that are on this guy are not teeth at all. Those are actually Lee press-on fingernails that have been carved into teeth. Ondie actually wore a pair in one of our photo shoots.
Here's you can play the.
Yeah, it's on our.
He has the picture.
It's on our thing here.
This was actually for Ace the Zombie. They did a zombie commercial. If you saw the little baby one, that was the youngest zombie I've ever had to make. I had to do this little tiny baby as a zombie. I almost feel guilty. She was adorable though.
The other girl bit you, or bit her.
Bit her, yeah.
Is this it?
I think so.
Yeah.
These are our 9-cop effects. This is one of our reels.
That was not a digital effect that splattered on the wall.
That's just some of the effects that we've done.
That's a Glock gun. We actually had a girl back there that fired it at the wall.
coming up.
I had to make an eyeball for her cheek. It popped out.
It's kind of dark, hard to see, but coming up.
We were not in charge of lighting on that.
Yeah. Coming up there, you'll see the picture of the vampire, and that's actually, well, there's the zombies.
And
this was for a commercial.
That's zombie.
My zombie.
There you go.
I didn't plan on being a zombie that day. They were like, we need an extra zombie.
No,
I was like,
not that group.
No, this is two naked men making a sandwich. They did the Halloween special.
That's literally their
zombies.
podcast named Two Naked Men in a Sandwich. They're
Making
not
a
always
sandwich.
zombies. It was,
Yeah, they just did that.
There it
There it
is.
is. The teeth.
and that's the girl from the
teeth
zombie
on that
walk thing.
vampire commercial, no, the vampire photo shoot were actually nails.
Yeah,
Because I
fingernails.
didn't have my teeth with me.
All right, now a couple of these, like I said, if you're lucky enough, you have little items that you just look at and you go, that could be cool. If you ever had like a child come and was like, oh, I got this gun, and it's like something they found off the ground, some weird thing, a squirrel, whatever. This is completely found items. This is off a chandelier. There's some watch parts in here. There's knobs and more gears that I found in different clocks. This is a piece of PVC, or not PVC, but pipe, like you have, conduit. And the rest is a chair leg. There's a chair leg one like that. And then this was also like a little candelabra piece. And the one thing is, though, when you try to make a steampunk weapon, I see this a lot. People will take just a collage of things and go, ha, now it's steampunk. And it just looks like a big pile of crap. And the reason why you can make something really nice is if you study antiques, go actually look at what antique pistols are shaped like and make it look like they have a function. All the little gears are here actually are really close together, so they look like they actually work with each other. If you don't, then they're just gears sitting on there. Now there are fashion people that just stick them on their outfits or have a little gears thing. That's fine. But if you want to go for something that looks like it might have actually functioned, make sure it does kind of go together a little bit.
Okay, we're getting towards the end of our time.
Well, I want to do two more.
Well, it's past one.
That's okay. I'll just do these real quick.
Does anyone have any questions so far? Because I know we cover like a lot of stuff. We pile a lot on you guys. Nope. Okay, good.
Real quick, I have to jump through these real quick. This right here, anyone know what this was at any point? Right now it's the Mole Man mask. Kind of goes over the head and fits on like that. Anybody recognize it? This was a blender. Like that. See?
See, when we tell them what, everyone's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
of
totally
course it
see
was.
that." Yeah.
This is a little bit harder. Now, this was from a toy that was actually, it's upside down, but the toy went right here and it had little darts in it, and it was for some kind of spy thing for the Nerf darts. And now it's a nice tentacle nose. These right here were gears that I found in a washing machine.
Can we put it on?
I
know
don't
if
think
I
you
can.
can. It's not very
Yeah, I
comfortable.
can't.
This was made to show how easy and quick some fix are. I literally wore this into the event. I had a hood and the whole deal. The hood was made from basically a sack that I just put a hole into, put it over my head, and it made that nice hoodie type deal. It was low enough that you couldn't see my real face into it. And this is just stapled together. I mean, this is just little belts and stuff like there. There's some zip ties. These are actually votive candle metal things here. There's some gummy stuff behind it that you do tacking up things at school projects with. And these are little votive candles, the fake ones. And the reason for that is at one time they actually lit up. So you had this little dot of light in the center of them. And they just fit into the actual candle metal things. And there's your eyes. This is rope that's just covered in black tape. There's a little bit of wire in the rope, so I can actually give it a little bit of twist and stuff. But that was it. And this is like a toilet thing. It's a little dangly
Plunger thing.
plunger deal, whatever it is.
So you have to
and
think outside the box. You
yeah, a
can't.
lot of
Gotta
glue
be
gun
open to it,
back
yeah.
there.
We love hot glue guns.
Yeah. Be careful with the hot glue guns. There's two different kinds. There's the little guys, and then there's the big guys. And we have at Netherworld, we both work at Netherworld, and I had to fix something on one of my puppets, and I still have the wound right here because someone disrupted me while I was doing it, and just a little drop fell on me, and I couldn't set down what I had. So it had about 30 seconds of burn time on me while I was like, ah, ah, and then I took the skin with it when it went. So it's very hot, be very careful. I can only say the consistency is kind of like if you ever had a Pop-Tart and the glucose comes off and you're like, oh, the little glucose, like, that's about the same kind of heat
Really hot.
that you get from it. What did we miss? We get everything. We got our puppets.
So. Yeah, we gotta.
We have our weird stuff. The wand didn't really light up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No questions. There's no questions here.
Yep. All right.
Not even the actor scene. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Well, you came
these
late.
are actually these are the little fake plastic things that you have
I was the
during
queen
Christmas.
from Narnia.
The
needed
icicles, yes.
Mm-hmm. It's
the
her
littler
crown.
icicles are actually from a string of icicles that they have.
Like
that
a
you can hang
Christmas
up.
string?
And they're hot glued together, just painstakingly, one at a time, to a barrette.
Just for Dragon Con.
A set of barrettes on the back. And then
So he based it with just a headband.
Yeah.
2 headbands.
and then there's a plastic piece that I added to that, and then there's a little ornament that we had. And then it's just all of those things, just one at a time on there. And then
there's lights
the
in it.
final part was I took the hodgepodge stuff that makes snow, it's that fake flocking putty, and that's it. I added these on there to give it more support to stay in the hair.
Because it's very heavy.
Yeah. Well, no, we talked about
yeah.
ways of doing it. And then me and Ondie went to...
We went to the
Where
craft
was we
store
went
and we're
to?
like, okay, what can we do here? And
It was the Christmas place. Where was that?
it was Garden South.
Garden, yeah.
Garden South. They have all this ornaments and stuff.
And the same thing with this guy. This is the wand from it. You can get these cool
there's some pieces in
wandy twigs over at places, at home decorating places and stuff, the twisty ones that make really cool wands. And then again, just one stick at a time, just put them on there, different little angles. And you got your major big ones at the end. This was to look like when the ice hits, it all kind of angling
You know
out.
how ice
like she literally
freezes?
froze it all up
Because
the
I was
stick.
the ice queen, so it was.
Have a pattern in mind. You don't have to literally draw out your design ahead of times, but you do want to have some idea of how it works when you start.
Is that it?
I think that's everything.
Well,
oh,
we're
I got
done.
one
Oh,
other
wait.
piece.
One more.
This
Oh,
is a
your
toy.
foot.
What this was, I love this thing. I made this years ago. There was a toy that was out for kids where it was a dinosaur that you could take apart and stick him back together in different shapes and things. And everything from the rib cages to his little feet came apart, and he had the little plastic little doodads like that. So I just put them together and went, "Ooh, a cool little sword knife thing."
I used
And
that on something.
yeah, I've wrapped
photo shoot
wire
or
in it,
something.
and I've used a rub, a gold rub, which you can get at any craft store. They have gold and silver rubs, so you can do like that. And then there's friendly plastic on it, and that's about it.
So feel free to come up, look at the props. You can look at the costumes. If you have questions, we can answer them afterwards. But thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Note that if you have a set, though, make it very clear. I want to say this as a prop master, that nobody touches your props. Props should only be in the hands of the actor when they're using them. It's very inappropriate for anybody to touch props any other time unless you're invited to, because they're easily destroyed.
Yeah, or lost.
And actors have no respect. They're thinking about the thing they're about to play, so they'll be, all right.
And kids have come up and touched like our makeup and stuff. I mean, they can get hurt.
It's not just kids. On one of our sets, on and after, I went and told everyone, don't touch the guns. Don't touch the guns. I found one of these old guys down his pants, and I took 2 days coming up with a silencer for this thing, a fake silencer. Okay, it's made from like a can and taped and all this stuff. And now it was down his pants in a 45-degree angle as he pulled
Like
it out.
this, not
Hey,
down his
no. Great. Broke that off. Said, no silencer today. So yes.
We're done.
Please.
We're good. Thank you guys for
Thank you.
coming.